Mega Man 04 caps off the Mega Man Zero series in an interesting way. A bunch of elements that were consistent over the whole series are now changed, and that even kinda starts with the story. The entire Dark Elf saga is pretty much over, so this game kinda reverts to the Mega Man X type of guy with a big laser. And alongside the Dark Elf, Cyber Elves are pretty much gone in general. You now have one big Cyber Elf which you can upgrade and customize, which pretty much replaces the Satellite Elves from 03 and completely eliminates the Fusion Elves. This means you can also no longer find Cyber Elves in the stages, which definitely removes one aspect of exploration rewards. The Cyber Elf is now upgraded by your mission progress and crystals. The armor chips from 03 then are still here, but you don't find them in stages anymore. Instead, you have to craft them. Crafting materials drop from enemies and you kinda have to contend with a trial and error system when it comes to the recipes. Some are communicated by the game, but a lot of it is very vague. And the way these are communicated is also kinda random. For example, talking to your Cyber Elf at certain stages of evolution will tell you some recipes. Both the Cyber Elf upgrade system and the new material system means that there's nothing really to find anymore in stages. Data disks hidden in stages have almost exclusively been degraded to containing lore. So once again, a Mega Man series has replaced exploration with grinding. Something that was improved, however, from the previous games is the EX skill system. It finally no longer relies on your rank. Instead, each stage has an easier or a harder version through the weather system. If you clear the harder version, you get the EX skill. I really like this. The playstyles required for EX skills in the previous games were not really suited for a first playthrough. Basically, skipping through a stage is not really how I want to spend my first playthrough of it. This also plays into the removal of elemental chips. While the Blaster EX skills still have you swapping between them, the Saber EX skills are context sensitive and directional, which is all of the advantages and disadvantages I've already discussed in the previous Mega Man Zero games. However, what it means for this game is that you'll no longer be using just charged slashes in boss fights. And on the topic of combat, the shield boomerang and rod don't return for this game. Instead, you have the Zero Knuckle, which is a sort of all-purpose solution for problems in this game. Destroying certain things, pushing things, ripping things out, the Zero Knuckle is generally the way to go there. What is really cool, however, is how it interacts with enemies. If you kill an enemy using the Zero Knuckle, you can steal their weapon. This is pretty cool. However, my issue with systems like this still applies in this game. Since all of these weapons are temporary, you can never really get used to them and integrate them into your muscle memory, and you can't rely on them being available. So in the end, I barely ended up using this system except for some very specific instances. The stages in this game are pretty cool overall. A lot of them have gimmicks that use the Zero Knuckle, but not gimmicks in the Mega Man X8 way. You're still just playing Mega Man Zero, but there's also something else to do. However, for some reason, I didn't really like the bosses in this game. They seem to all be a little bit bigger, and fill up the screen a little more with all kinds of projectiles. Maybe I just didn't put in the effort to learn them, but I don't know, I didn't really like them as much. Overall though, this game was pretty great. Kind of a downgrade from the smash hit that 03 was, but I still really liked it. You can kinda tell Inti Creates is dying to try something else. With all of this in mind, I'm giving this game a 9 out of 10.